But Stan's smart. Stan has gotten smart in his old age. Stan is writing contracts or causing contracts to be written. The amazing thing is that, Jack Kirby has 2 contracts, but I don't think Jack Kirby's family is getting any money anywhere near equal to what Stan is getting. See, the problem is if you start your day off and the sun is shining and things are happy and you start to talk to Neal Adams, what he starts to talk to you about is injustice. Because I'm just that kind of a pain in the ass. Okay? Jack Kirby's family, whether you agree or not, in my opinion, should get exactly the same dollar that Stan Lee is getting. If Stan Lee gets $10 million, Jack Kirby's family should get $10 million. But injustice, it's everywhere. Any questions? You can ask anything. How the universe works, I'd love to answer that.
You were talking about creating Ra's al Ghul, and now he's in the movie and so forth. For someone who is going into a title like Batman and creating a new villain who turns out to be popular and so forth, what would be a more equitable arrangement, in your opinion, for the creator of that character? And it has an afterlife that could seemingly go on forever, and yet it's all work for hire, or?
Jesus, I have to laugh every time I hear work for hire. Let me just say this about, there's like, you think you asked a question, and there's 5 different questions. First question is work for hire. The copyright law of 1978, which established work made for hire as a standard in our country, which is laughed at by other countries, by the way, says you are an employee at the time you do the work, and therefore we own everything you do, and therefore you have no rights. In our way of running things, we have 2 ways of being employed. One is you're an employee. If you're an employee, they pay your salary, they take taxes out, they pay your unemployment, they pay workman's compensation, they pay your Social Security from that, and they give you a place to work, they give you materials, and they pay you at least minimum wage, which a lot of days I never got minimum wage because I'm a freelancer and I'm an asshole. But that's one way of being employed, as an employee. Then you have a freelance contractor. Freelance contractor, he works in his own time, he works in his own space, he works with his own supplies, he does his own work independently based on his own style or type of way of doing work. He doesn't have income tax taken out, which then is like throwing him a fish onto the dock, then he dies because he doesn't keep track of his money. But his income tax is not taken out. His workman's compensation is not taken out. Therefore, according to the state, he is not employed. He employs himself, so he can't collect unemployment insurance. His Social Security is not taken out. He has to pay it himself. He gets nothing. He's a freelance contractor. Well, too bad about him. He's a freelance contractor. He chose to do it, and anybody who doesn't have the sense to know that that's what a freelancer is an idiot. So if you think you're a freelancer and that's cool, it's not. You have to be responsible for everything you do, for every dollar you make. You have to be responsible for the 2 bank accounts that you're supposed to have, one for your salary and one for the 50% of that money you should be putting away for Uncle Sam and Aunt Sam, who lives in Albany and the city of New York, and your Social Security and anything else. You should be doing that, and you don't. If you're a freelancer, you're a schmuck. But there you go. We freelancers are schmucks. That's the other state of employment, employee or freelance contractor. The copyright law of 1978, while I was fighting for Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, this was established, so I didn't even know about it. I had no idea, and that makes me a schmuck. I could have gone to Congress and I could have said something, and I didn't. And in fact, Jerry Siegel, creator of Superman, the writer on Superman, begged me to go to Congress and fight against work made for hire, and I said to Jerry, "Duh, what's that?" And he said, "Neal." So I didn't, and nothing was done. Now, not just because I didn't, but because nobody did. So they established this thing. Some encyclopedia salesman said, "If I have an encyclopedia and I'm hiring a man to write 1 paragraph in my encyclopedia, I don't want to have to give him a 4-page contract. He should be, just to work on that piece. It's like a temporary employee." Congress goes, "Yes, well, that's true, isn't it? So, It's true. So, I mean, I can't have him write one paragraph and give him a 4-page contract. That doesn't make any sense. Now, had I gone to Congress, I could have said, God gave you a Xerox machine. Make a 1-page contract and have him sign that for your one goddamn paragraph and shut the hell up. But I didn't get to do that. So Congress, in their wisdom, established work made for hire. By the way, Frank Miller is walking to the stage. I want... Shut the hell up. I just have to finish this, and then it's all
I've been
yours.
hearing this for close to 30 years now.
Exactly. Sorry. So what Congress did was they established a work made for hire. Work made for hire means you're like a freelance contractor. You can use your own supplies. You can do all these things that you'd normally do as a freelance contractor, but you have no rights whatsoever. The company you're working for, you're really an employee. Actually, you're not an employee. You're a freelance contractor. But for the sake of this paragraph, you're an employee. So basically, fuck you. Excuse me, I didn't say that. I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't say that. It was somebody else. Didn't say it. Okay. So you're pretty much screwed one way or the other. You have all the deficiencies of being an employee and all the deficiencies of being a freelance contractor, and you get nothing. You float in that middle place where nothing comes to you. You have no rights. You have nothing as a freelance contractor, as a work made for hire.
But at least you don't get health insurance.
Yeah, at least you don't get health insurance. You get nothing. You don't get Social Security. You don't get unemployment. You don't get disability. You get nothing. But you give away everything, okay? That's what it is. You have nothing. So you asked me a question about being a freelancer and what kind of agreement you sign. If you sign a contract that says work made for hire, you're pretty much screwed. That's the first question. First question. Now, people have fought against work made for hire. There was a Supreme Court case against work made for hire, and it cut down the provision. You know why it cut down the provision? Because finally, the Writers Association of America realized that they were being screwed. Neal went to the Writers Association of America and said, guys, everybody's going to get screwed with work made for hire. You guys ought to be standing up with us and saying something against it. And the Writers Association of America, which is not an organization really of writers, but of agents. Writers Association of America sat and looked at me in the face and said, well, actually, you must understand, Mr. Adams, that we represent the most popular writers in America, and we have contracts. We don't have this work made for hire thing to worry about. And I said probably one of the most profound things I've ever said in my life to a group of empty heads. I said, if you're not willing to fight for the least of us, then the most of us deserve nothing. If you're not willing to fight for the least of us, most of us deserve nothing. And that's why we have work made for hire, because nobody's willing to fight for the guy at the bottom of the pole. Very, very popular, right? Stephen King doesn't sign a work made for hire contract. He signs a real contract. Everybody should get a contract. And then this conversation that we're having can be valid. As long as you get a work made for hire contract, and as long as you're not willing to fight for your contract one way and another, you get stepped on. And that's just the way it is in America, folks. If you lived in France, they don't let you get screwed. You may not do well, but they don't let you get screwed. So work made for hire is the beginning of the conversation. The end of the conversation is you got to stand up for yourself. If everybody thinks you're an asshole for standing up for yourself and arguing for your contract, then that must mean you're on the right track. But I mean, you can compensate by just smiling at people, and then everybody thinks you're innocent. And okay. Well, actually,